This is an Audio Wool original.
What do you think about JoJo Siwa?
I have almost no knowledge.
From Audio Wool Studios, it is Frightday. I'm your host, Mr. Morning, with a U, Byron, the Hello Night Owls. For some folks, second place might as well be last, and that's no more true than inside of media and entertainment. But how far is too far in terms of securing eyes and ears? We'll talk about that, ratings, and widowing as we review Colin and Cameron Cairnes' Late Night with the Devil. I need to fix that. Don't know why it always does that.
I don't know. It's kind of fun, like the giddy up cowboy thing.
I'm joined tonight by Kelly.
Hello.
Sam can't make it because he's tricking folks on national TV again.
He is.
Why does he always do that?
I don't know. He just loves the spotlight. What can you say?
No, I'd say knock it off. Quit tricking folks. Sam, you're better than that.
Such an attention hound. Yeah,
well, kind of is. So
yeah, totally.
We've been laying back, doing research and hard work, but it's been a couple weeks since Camp Frightday, Kelly.
Oh, it has.
How's your recovery been?
You know, it's been okay. I always, after Camp Frightday, feel very fired up to try and figure out, okay, but really, like, how can we get it in person? Because I really want to see everybody. It's just so nice to have those experiences, and then I really want to make it happen in person. And
that was so wonderful to see faces.
Really. And, I bought a couple of Grady Hendrix's books to finally read after, debating that for years and having those on my shelf. You know how I am about reading anything that isn't research related?
Yeah, it's a waste of time.
But it's not a waste of time. I just always have aspirations and it just never comes to fruition because I'm like, it just falls to the bottom of the to-do list. You know, Byron, the tyranny of the urgent. What are you going to do? But I am, in this case, going to start reading How to Sell a Haunted House.
I would love to.
She came in yesterday morning as I was doing my Patrick Bateman face routine in the morning, and she came in and she said, "Mom, how do you sell a haunted house?" And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Oh, your book that you're reading." I was like, "Oh, yeah."
It kind of sounds like a children's book title, right? It could very well be.
It actually could. In fact, maybe Grady should make like a little kid picture book version of it.
I think so. Grady and Ted, what a wonderful interview we had with them. I think that's the last part of Camp Frightday that's going to be airing on the main feed. And I will
It was so much fun.
The entire thing will be up, available at thefrightdaysociety.org pretty soon here. There's a lot going on in our little world, the audio world.
There is.
Audio Wool universe. I'm still playing catch up.
So I'm just wondering, you guys need to do like a more overt face-off with Crowder.
Oh, you're talking about
that would be
Louder Than Crowder podcast. I'm going to try to not confront him as long as possible.
Really? Okay, because I was just feeling like maybe, since he's trying to stir things up, maybe you could just like double down on that perspective.
I don't want to get into this too terribly much for folks who aren't interested in that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, he's terribly litigious, Kelly. He's like, he sues everyone.
But
I looked through his Pacer. Do you know what Pacer is? You can look up legal cases.
Yeah. Oh, I know Pacer, my
busy
dear.
Man over there. They're doing stuff.
Here's the fun thing. You guys could, I will give you some legal advice off the air. It would be very easy to put up like basically an impermeable wall and then just go guns blazing.
It's an LLC, limited liability.
Well, but there's a specific way you can add a couple layers to that so that it is like really, he can do all he wants and it's just fun.
For folks who are curious, it's a show that's critical of Steven Crowder and his show Louder with Crowder, which is a conservative shit show. Bad guy, not great.
Or you could just do totally crazy and like reach out to him and try to be friends and like pull a Lex Friedman on him.
We shouldn't get into this. We're thinking folks will come to Camp Frightday.
It's interesting.
It is interesting,
so
and you're welcome to come guest pretty soon here. It's wedding season, so Dennis is going to be pretty busy.
Oh, but then I won't be able to fight with Dennis.
Yeah, you love Jared, though. Jared's wonderful. I was so happy. Gosh, darn it. The guests at Camp Frightday this year, beyond the people like Grady Hendrix and Ted Gagan and, oh my God, Dave Schrader. What a delightful treat. Really
but members of the Audio Wolf family. That
yeah. I mean, Dennis and Jared stopped by and did a live Casual Frightday. And Casual Friday is resuming, too. And then
oh, boy.
Dennis and Jared.
I might phone in.
You should pop in. It's been a while. So Dennis and Jared.
Well, it's going to be chaos here, but I will try.
Why? What do you got going on there?
You finish your story and then I'll explain.
Sure, absolutely. Casual Frightday.
Dennis
Those
and Jared.
boys stuck around, and then we had the writers' room folks came in, and we did a live table reading of a surprise film because that was the theme this year, Tricks. And I tricked you into reading the
worst movie ever.
Well, I don't know about that. First draft of the follow-up to the smash hit Blair Witch Project, the Blair Witch Project 2 script. Before it was called Book of Shadows. Fun.
I did learn that apparently the movie actually improved over the original script, which was shocking for me to learn.
Also, rest in peace, the screenwriter died of cancer. So thank you.
Very sad.
Thank you for that. But
he was still a really bad screenwriter, but that is sad that he died.
Yeah, that was an interesting situation because it was a documentary filmmaker who came on to direct Blair Witch 2: Book of Shadows. Did you know that?
No, why?
Bad choice because it isn't a found footage film even. It's like a traditional film. The director was Joe Berlinger, who he did the Paradise Lost documentary series, which was the West Memphis 3. Mm-hmm. And he did
because that's actually really good, isn't it?
Yeah, some of the best really documentaries out there. He also did 1992's Brothers Keeper, which was, I think, Academy Award winning, right?
Wow.
And then came back and did that Confessions with a Killer, Jeffrey Dahmer tapes, John Wayne Gacy tapes.
That's where the bridge started getting built. Now it's making a little more sense, at least.
His biggest one was the Ted Bundy tapes. So, yeah, he's great, but that film was not good at all, and we made it a lot of fun. So I'm really happy and thankful for not only the people who attended, but the people who participated, the Audio Wolf family, and I'd love to do it in person, Kelly. I know you mentioned that. We have a lead on a location, and we have an enthusiastic former co-host of this podcast. I don't know.
He's very enthusiastic about it.
Who knows what that could look like?
Well, he's going to be even more enthusiastic by the end of this weekend because poor Sam, I have been working pretty insane hours, and he has been single parenting pretty insane hours as a result. Kind of had this conflict of priorities pop up, as happens. A little bit worried about the kids' friend groups, and as things are taking shape.
The rough crowd?
Well, I don't know, but the thing is, you only get to have influence over the kids your kids hang out with for a very, very short period of time.
Sure.
And I can feel that window closing, feel it tightening around my neck, and I'm starting to lose the ability to breathe properly. I decided that it was a good time to have everyone over for a movie night so that I can sit back and take notes.
Kind of witness what's going on exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but I knew that the idea of Sam hosting, a bunch of little girls running around the house was going to push him over the edge. So I said, okay, if you're okay with it, you go to a friend's house Friday. I'm going to invite a few of the girls' friends over. We'll do this. Well, I only did it a couple days before, and so I thought we would only get a few positive responses, assuming a lot of people would already have plans. Yeah, we've got 25 girls coming over.
Why would you invite that many? You don't have, you have a huge house, but I don't know.
So this is the other thing that happens. First of all, I assumed maybe a 50% yield top end.
Sure.
And it's we've only one kid can't go. Is now what happened.
Ridiculous.
But it's because you also don't want to leave people out.
Of course, yeah.
And as long as you at least invite them, then you're right? So anyhow, I invited a couple friends over, and we're going to drink wine and make sociological notes. We'll maybe call in to talk about.
I don't like this at all. Sounds like a terrible
Yeah.
idea. I did forget to mention, we covered a Joe Berlinger film for the show.
Oh, now I'm embarrassed. Which one?
This was his return to non-documentary. It's extremely wicked, shockingly evil and vile. The Zac Efron-led Ted Bundy film.
Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Not bad.
Okay. Which makes more sense because at least it's an area of extreme knowledge for him.
Yeah. But Hollywood, when you hire a documentary filmmaker, how about use him for what he's good for? You know?
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Again, thank you. And while we continue building up our next series, also appreciate it and thank you. I think we've got a couple things still lined up, but we will probably be doing a couple more films before the Mob series would be my guess as well. So in the comments on Twitter, on Instagram, or in the Facebook group, let us know what films that we may have missed that you'd like to hear us talk about. I know that there's some stuff coming into the theater. I'm excited. Good film season for some reason. And I'm still excited for Twisters, right? I keep getting trailers for that.
When does it come out? I should know.
I don't know, but we can't cover it for the show. It's Twisters.
I know.
I'd love to. July. What are you excited for?
Okay.
Anything coming up? I know this film that we're talking about tonight was kind of your number one most anticipated.
I was and remain very excited about this movie. What's funny is every movie that's coming out the rest of the year just went straight out of my head as soon as you asked that question. I
mean, Nosferatu is probably coming out. The Strangers Chapter 1 is coming out soon as well.
Cautiously optimistic. I don't know that I'd say excited. Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. The Watchers, that new M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes.
Sorry, M. Night Shyamalan produced, directed by his daughter.
Oh.
Yeah, could be kind of cool. I think they directed some episodes of the final season of Servant, but I actually didn't finish Servant.
Oh, I loved it.
Good ending?
I really loved
it. How it wrapped up?
I did. I really liked how it wrapped up, actually. Very much.
I don't think we're going to go see A Quiet Place day one, even though we love Lupita. It's just you haven't seen any of those films at this point.
We could do what if we did a Wine Kelly marathon that ended with you driving me to the theater to go see it?
That's not bad. That could be a long day, but it could be a lot of fun. But speaking of long legs.
I saw the TV Glow. That's the other one.
Well,
that's
really one for sure. I love that film. So, spoiler alert. Yeah. Long Legs. It's the new Oz Perkins one.
I love Oz, so I am excited about that.
Yeah. FBI agent Lee Harker is assigned to an unsolved serial murder case that takes an unexpected turn, revealing evidence of the occult. So, kind of a perfect film.
I mean, I love Perkins. You love cults.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be
and
great.
The occult.
But we did jump over an M. Night Shyamalan film starring Josh Hartnett. Did you see the trailer to this yet? It's called Trap.
No.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of blows his twist right at the top, but Josh Hartnett is bringing his daughter to a pop star concert, kind of like maybe a Doja Cat style performance.
Okay. You want to know the only reason that I have deep familiarity with Doja Cat?
Deep. Okay. Interesting.
It's from Dave, which one of these days you'll actually watch.
Dave. Yeah, I probably won't watch that. But they're in the concert, and he's looking around, and he starts seeing all these police officers standing at the doors and setting up security cameras in the venue. It's like a large kind of Madison Square Garden-y situation. Right. And he goes and talks to one of the vendors, and it's like,
Cooper, Jamie, what's with all the police trucks outside and cameras everywhere, Jamie? I'm not supposed to tell. Something happening? Don't rat me out. I won't. You know the butcher? The freaking nut job that goes around just chopping people up? Well, the feds or whatever heard that he's gonna be here today, so they set up a trap for him.
So they're setting a trap for him. The movie's called Trap. And turns out Josh Hartnett is the serial killer. Mm-hmm. So he is going to try to get his daughter and him out of there safely. We've got an anti-hero situation. It looks like a lot of fun.
Man, see, anytime there's a dad and daughter involved, though,
you think
that's gonna turn me on my head.
That could be a lot of fun.
No, it's just hard not to be really empathetic towards the serial killer in that situation. We'll see. Well, I mean, I'm excited.
That's kind of the point here, isn't it? But I imagine it's not the only twist that we're going to experience in Trap. But that's coming out this summer as well. Should be a lot of fun. Okay. It's going to be a good year. We got a lot going on. Yeah, which is why I guess we should probably get to work.
I don't want to do any work. I'm so tired.
Kelly, these DVD copies of Little Miss Sunshine aren't going to put themselves away.
Okay, I really am going to object to that because Little Miss Sunshine does not fit into the category that you typically do these. These are like crappy blockbusters. That is such a good movie.
It's a great film. I like it. These DVD copies of Savages, maybe? Maria Full of Grace. I wonder if I've done that one. Maria Full of Grace are going to put themselves away. It's time.
And Savages, wasn't that Oliver Stone? I feel like,
I don't know. It's time for staff picks.
Shite.
They say so much, but they never tell you if it's any good.
Werewolf movie with E.T.'s mom in it.
The Howling, horror, straight ahead.
I can't find anything else better. Sorry, Kelly. This was a tough one for me. You know, any film like Late Night with the Devil I've already recommended. We did a whole episode on Ghost Watch and the fallout after its airing. I think we've talked Pontypool to death at this point. Radio host Grant Mazzy, one of the best and only good things that Bruce McDonald? No, that's the singer. Bruce. It is McDonald. No, the director is Bruce McDonald. We're talking about Stephen McHattie.
McHattie.
Yes.
It was, yeah.
Sorry for slandering the name of Bruce. I apologize. Great guy. His follow-up films have been okay. We've even talked about modern-ish versions, more films like Deadstream. He's a whole host of something. It's tangential, I guess, but I even thought it would be fun to talk about David Dastmalchian. I'm sure that's mispronouncing it, but I can't correct it because I don't know how to correct it. David Dalmatian. That's exactly what I would have said. I'm proud of you. A lot of horror films that he's done, or at least just dark films. Incredible, criminally underrated character actor. Like one of the best. His first credit, do you know what it was, Kelly? No. David D. was one of Joker's henchmen in The Dark Knight. Oh, I was really hoping you were going to tell me, like, Newsies. Nope. Okay. No. Belko Experiments was wonderful. Prisoners, he was probably the best Holy shit, I totally forgot about Belko Experiment. I forgot that was even a thing. Well, it's because it came out alongside Mayhem, and everyone went the way of Mayhem, which I kind of think... I like Belko. What was that? James Gunn's brother directed that? It's pretty good. Yeah, I agree. Not bad. I totally agree. Prisoners, he's like the best part, the cold-ish open to The Boogeyman, which was that Rob Savage film after he ruined his career with Dashcam, in your opinion. Yeah. But I really like David. He came onto my radar in 2014 when I saw the premiere of a film he wrote and starred in called Animals. He was there, incredibly sweet man, a wonderful Q&A. The film is about... Oh, that makes me really happy because you never know. I don't know if you know anything about the film Animals. It's about a couple living in their car at Lincoln Park Zoo, scamming strangers to support their heroin addiction. It's really... Well, that sounds really happy. It was heavy, very heavy film, and David was very emotional in talking about this film because it was based on his experiences. He was an addict for 5 years, so... No way! Yeah. So he's been sober since then. Right after becoming sober, he became a fisherman. I think like an Alaskan-style fisherman. But how old is this man? He sounds like he's lived 100 lives. I know, right? Old soul, young face. But all that being said, is he like 40? I don't know how old. But I went a different direction. You did? Okay. Yeah, right, I found an episode of Tales from the Crypt called Television Terrors. Have you seen this one? No. Tabloid news host Horton Rivers, played by Morton Downey Jr., and his cameraman Trip Anderson, played by Michael Harris, investigate the Ritter House. Hold on. Morton Downey Jr.? Yeah. Who the fuck is that? Television talk show host and actor who pioneered trash TV in the 80s with the Morton Downey Jr. show. Makes sense, so... Oh, I was just wondering if there was like a Robert Downey connection, but... You think the Downey Juniors are all the same? I mean, that doesn't really make sense, does it? I don't think so. Because the junior isn't actually part of the last name. Unless the family is stacking first names, doubling up on the juniors. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Sorry. Well, what if you name someone after your middle name? Is that a middle name junior? Like if my dad's middle name is Colin and then he named me Colin, it would be like Byron Colin Jr. McCoy? I don't think so. I don't think it does. All right, fine. Mm-mm. Either way, good to see Morton. They investigate the Ritter House, which is an abandoned house allegedly haunted by the ghost of Ada Ritter. an old woman who killed several old men for their social security checks and then committed suicide. Horton and his crew get more than they bargained for when a chain of supernatural happenings occur on live TV. It's directed by a stuntman turned stunt coordinator turned actor turned director named Charles Pickerney. Not a name that stood out to me, but did work on the original Roadhouse, True Romance, Die Hard, Demolition Man on the stunt side. So he's like a big deal stunt coordinator. I bet he's just as good as you need a director to be for Tales from the Crypt. This has been added to my queue, and I've added a link to this in the show notes of this episode of Frightday.com. It's on YouTube, but kind of right up my alley. I don't get the opportunity to watch a lot of Tales from the Crypt. It's kind of an overwhelming catalog, so it's nice when an opportunity like this kind of pops up.
Well, I will absolutely put it on my list as well.
Great.
Of all of those serial horror TV shows, anthology things that were on, I really like Tales from the Dark Side.
Okay.
Not a big fan of Tales from the Crypt.
You weren't a Crypt one, huh? I think it was the trailers.
Honestly, the Crypt Keeper just annoyed the shit out of me.
Okay.
I just thought he was really annoying. He's just obnoxious. Not a fan.
A darkly intrigued youngster, every time the commercials would come on for that or like Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction, it was magnetizing. I love the spooky weirdness of Tales from the Crypt, and there was nothing like it on TV, to my knowledge, at least that I saw. I love it.
Okay. Byron, I'm going to have to lean on you to tell me whether I've talked about this movie too much or not, because it, to me, is the best one for me to recommend alongside tonight's movie. Angel Heart.
You've done Angel Heart once, to my knowledge. I'll pull up the Frightday notes for fun.
Okay, because if it's only happened once, then I'm rolling with it, and I'm going to go ahead.
During episode 269, Synchronic, Marilyn Monroe Part 4, long time ago.
Okay. Angel Heart is the kind of movie that I don't know that we'll ever see again, and I'm not sure that that's even a bad thing.
Okay.
It has some incredibly trigger warning worthy things in it for sexual abuse victims.
Yes, I remember.
All of that said, it is one of the most powerful, impressive movies I've ever seen. It has Mickey Rourke pre-weird plastic surgery.
All right, be kind.
No, I'm just saying, like, he does not look like the same human.
No, he doesn't. You're right.
Like, completely different human being. It is kind of a noir feel. In fact, he kind of looks more like Bruce Willis, I would say.
Yeah, wow. I mean, doesn't look like Mickey Rourke. Not the Rourke I know.
At all.
Yeah.
Right. So, really interesting movie. Don't read anything about it because it'll spoil it. But it has to do with the occult, and otherworldly forces, and enlisting help / support from places that you may not know what you're paying the price for. Mm-hmm. The price that you're going to pay, ultimately. Okay, so it's Lisa Bonet is in it.
Yeah.
Also, it does make me question her family's choices a little bit. Letting their daughter be involved in this movie was,
how dark is this movie? Like,
it's real dark. Like, dark to the point that the reason I don't think it would get made again is it would probably be an X or an NC-17, and so it wouldn't be like marketable. But it's got freaking De Niro in it
and Rourke. Let's be honest, but
right. But De Niro, Lisa Bonet, and Mickey Rourke. Incredible mystery, horror, interesting story. I highly recommend, as long as you go in with those trigger warnings, that you see it. I really don't want to wreck anything. Please go see it, though. Really freaking good movie.
Check it out in theaters.
I actually wish they would re-release that one. I don't know where it is streaming, but I don't think it's one of those that's like
regular
impossible
places.
to find.
Yeah, nothing's streaming, but you can rent it pretty much everywhere.
Okay.
That makes me happy.
Check it out.
It makes me happy that we're able to see a lot of films. Like when we started getting away from physical media and leaning into just purely VOD releases, I was like, films are going to just disappear, which a lot of them have. One of them that did, you can get on VHS from me at quietneighbor.com, I guess. Quietneighbor.help, pardon me. You Are Not Alone, which we watched as part of Camp Frightday. The VHS release, just a quick plug. But I have started seeing a lot of older films being uploaded for rent on YouTube, Google Play, Apple TV. So I'm less concerned that that things will disappear, and I kind of have a feeling that people are just going to monetize everything from our youth, and we will fall victim to that, and we will die giving all of our $4 to watch everything all the time.
At some point, I would like to sit down and combine all of that, and there's got to be a better way to do what we're doing.
Probably.
Pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
But
great. Cool. Angel Heart. Check it out. That was fun. Felt good to get back into staff picks, Kelly.
I feel like
we're forgetting something before we lock up. Oh, yeah. Let's take a step into the back room to welcome and initiate some new members of the Frightday Society. Yes. This is an interesting one. It's a bit of a reunion special, Kelly. Some folks have returned to us. Our flock. Yeah, I think that was a little loud, the society music here.
Really joyful.
I know, right? And some of them were in attendance at Camp Frightday. I'm only going to talk about it this week. I'm not going to continue talking about Camp Frightday for weeks. James W. Welcome back to the Frightday Society. He was big.
Oh my gosh, welcome.
Yeah. And David J. has returned to the Inner Circle. Welcome back.
You guys.
Open arms every time. If you want to come back, feel free. No shame, no hate.
Really, really exciting.
Yeah.
Really exciting.
And then there's Shannon K., who not only joined the Inner Circle, but has paid for the whole year.
Shannon.
Thank you.
You guys.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you all so much. Also, I just want to say it's very appreciated, and we know that that's a really big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't ever want anybody to feel like we don't love you if you don't have the money to pay for that.
Just last though.
Well, things are hard.
Of course.
Things
and of
are
course
hard,
I'm kidding.
You know?
Yeah, 1000%.
Wow, that's really appreciated.
It is, and it's not official until you decipher this and repeat it.
Good luck. It gives me nightmares.
Welcome back. But yeah, the people that you said who aren't members, you can very easily become one if you go to the Frightday Society.org. And if you don't know if you want to do that, you can activate a free trial like Nick F. did. That's not Nick Fuentes, Kelly. It's someone else.
How do you know it isn't?
I guess I have access to the full last name. 7-day free trial. You can listen to a hell of a lot of Behind the Screams, the show behind the show, Captain Kelly's Cryptids Conspiracies, which I believe the Nessie episode and the Jersey Devil episode are both there. So if you're following along with our cryptid bracket, our bracket style competition to determine the best cryptid, you might want to take a peek there. I think did we do Bigfoot behind a paywall? I doubt that. I think we did a 4-part Bigfoot series on the main feed.
I had the most fascinating discussion with somebody about that the other day.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so much you can check out in a 7-day period to decide if you want to stick around. It's only $6.66 a month. Your support helps us keep this show rolling down the tracks, and we very much appreciate it. Kelly.
Yes.
This is the film that we've gotten in verbal arguments about acquiring.
And written.
That's also true. A lot of back and forth.
Yeah. Don't limit it.
It is time for us to take a break and then review Late Night with the Devil.
We hope you're enjoying your visit here this evening. Now, on with the show.
Late Night with the Devil is a 2023 supernatural horror film written, directed, and edited by Colin and Cameron Cairnes. Johnny Carson rival Jack Delroy hosts a syndicated talk show, Night Owls, that has been a trusted companion to insomniacs around the country. However, ratings for the show have plummeted since the tragic death of Jack's beloved wife. Desperate to turn his fortunes around, on October 31st, 1977, Jack plans a Halloween special like no other, unaware that he's about to unleash evil into the living rooms of America. We're here, Kelly. We made it.
I'm going to bring up a really weird connection to this movie that I kept feeling throughout it that is probably not going to mean anything to you, but will likely mean something to a good number of the listeners. So I don't know who else got into The Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Some folks did, but it's fairly popular.
Well, I mean, of our listeners, yeah. In the last couple of seasons, there was a storyline involving a talk show host. Byron, you didn't watch Maisel, did you?
Nope.
Okay, so fascinating plotline that actually became one of my favorite plotlines, second only to the Lenny Bruce plotline, which was definitely my absolute favorite plotline. It involved her kind of becoming close with this guy that was a rival of Johnny Carson's. Okay, and this took a little bit of the same feel to it, and there were quite a few places in the movie that I was feeling some of those. I guess it was a little less, I don't know, some of the same comparisons.
Sure.
And the same rivalry, and it was one of the first times that I had ever seen insight or really thought about the idea of crazy rivalry between those late night hosts, especially back in these days.
Wait. You weren't around for like the Jay Leno.
Yeah. No, I was,
Jay Leno
but that
Conan thing.
This just seems to have a totally different vibe to it, and I think partially because people had literally nothing else to watch. Like everyone was watching one of these things.
That's true. Yeah.
And it was. Yeah, it's just an interesting dynamic that I don't think we will ever experience again.
Yeah, so it's an interesting
Reed
playground.
Scott.
Yeah,
Reed Scott played the role in who you would recognize him from Veep. You may not recognize his name, but you'd recognize him from Veep, Tyron.
In Maze,
anyhow,
is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, he played the
Still talking about that,
late night talk show host. Yep.
Do you know much about these directors, though? Colin and Cameron?
No, I don't. But I bet you're going to tell me.
Not much. I don't know too much. They're Australian filmmakers. They had a film called 100 Bloody Acres, which I think I get mixed up for other direct-to-DVD, direct-to like Redbox style films. It seems like it's a little bit different. It came out in 2013. They co-wrote and directed it together. Reg and Lindsay run an organic fertilizer business. They need a fresh supply of their secret ingredient to process through the meat grinder. Reg comes across
that's really fun.
Two guys and a girl with a broken down vehicle on their way to a music festival, and then chaos ensues. So it sounds like kind of a Dale and Tuckery type thing, and I think that's kind of what we got. I haven't seen it, so I apologize, but rave reviews. People called it the best low-budget horror comedy since Shaun of the Dead. It won the Midnight Award at Sitges and was nominated Best Original Screenplay at the Australian Academy Award.
Byron, why didn't we see that?
I don't know. 2013, what were we busy doing? Oh, it was the great VOD boom of 2013. There was, all of those.
Well, and I guess it was technically right before we started, too, so that could have been it.
Yeah. I mean, we were busy praising the Evil Dead remake or The Sacraments. What else came out around the same time? It was a good year. So, I mean, a lot good, apparently. Missed it. But Colin and Cameron have been busy directing other things. Not a lot of features. Episodes of shows like Fancy Boy, True Story of Amish and Andy, and How to Stay Married. But then they returned to horror, which is nice. Late Night with the Devil was announced February 13th, 2022, with so many fucking production companies attached. I was going to save this for a
Sam was cracking up when we were
9.
watching it.
I mean,
it was 9.
I think it was 9. I was watching this casually on a Saturday night on my couch with my partner, and it was wonderful. But damn, 9 title cards? Like 9 production companies at the top of this? Like,
I definitely stopped counting because I just thought it was really funny. But wow,
I was like,
yeah,
no way, there's another.
Okay, so Byron, I feel like you understand the ins and outs of production a lot more than I do.
It's funding.
It's one of those things that I just don't even think about. Okay, but was this that expensive of a movie? Like, why so many?
You wouldn't think so, right? Like, it's a single-ish location. Everything else was like quick pickups, or AI,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about in a second.
Well, yeah.
But no, it was surprising to me as well. I can't imagine what was the budget of this. The budget was 11 million. No, that's the box office. So it had to be, I imagine, less than that. It's not listed here. Pardon me.
But it wasn't like...
No. And they definitely could have made it more expensive. And I would like to talk about ways they could have made it more expensive. And
I'm gonna argue with you about that. Get ready.
Mm-hmm. But this film, Australian, I didn't expect that. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's international sales had to do with production companies. I don't know. But David.
Okay, so I know we don't have time for this right now, but at some point we need to figure out what the record is
for production companies. 9 seems like a lot. I mean,
it does seem like a lot.
So interesting. Desmolchin accepted the part after being sent a lookbook designed to resemble a 1970s TV guide along with the script. Very creative. And I gotta say, spoiler alert, they couldn't have found a better guy for this role. Like,
oh my God, he's amazing.
For a guy who's been mostly character actor most of his life, God damn it, he's got leading man star power. So good.
I hope he gets so many roles from this because he was one of the most enjoyable actors to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It was... Yes, I completely agree, Byron.
And we're going to walk through the plot a little bit, but I got to say, as excited as you were to watch this, a lot of people were. I've had so many people reach out to say that this was like Jacob saw it at, tell you right, it premiered at South by Southwest last year, and I missed it. But people have been talking about this for a while. It's very, very buzzy. And when it finally came to Shudder, it is like record breaking at this point. I don't know.
Is it?
Yeah. Shudder and AMC Plus are reporting. What do we see? It dropped on April 19th after a short theatrical run, which made 2.8 million, which is pretty good for one of these like Shudder to theater ahead of release things. Considering something like Five Nights at Freddy's got 7.3 million, but it beat,
oh my gosh!
It beat VHS 99 and When Evil Lurks as the previous record holders for Shudder as the biggest opening weekend for Shudder and AMC, because they're kind of one and the same at this point.
Yeah.
Which I guess we should consider shifting our subscription to an AMC Plus subscription, because
so that it counts both. Yeah, that's one of those things we should be more strategic about. I completely agree.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. They spent $150,000 for visual effects. I don't know exactly what the budget was, but yeah, it did.
The total budget was? Okay.
It did really well. It blew the Shudder records at this point. So very excited to hear that Shudder is finally finding its audience and has films that people are really, really excited to watch. But
I also wonder how much of it has to do with timing. I mean, It just seemed like a really good time where it's not summer, people aren't out looking for like big blockbusters yet, and there's been kind of a lull in great stuff to go see. I don't know. It was a good time,
right?
Yeah, I mean, but like,
I think for horror there was some stuff, but you're right. We're in like the everything's thawing. People are wanting to go out and do something, or stay in with their friends and do something. But
sorry.
What's going on?
No, for some reason my ringer was ringing. It shouldn't be ringing. I thought it was turned off, but it rang. I apologize.
Funny. Every time I call, the ringer never rings. So, interesting, Kelly. If you want to start at the top here, we've got ourselves a documentary vignette discussing this awful event that happened, along with the history of our lead. And how did you feel about this? The kind of the it's not a cold open. It's just like a prologue, I guess.
Okay, and I think this was one of the other reasons I felt very nasally about it.
Mm-hmm.
The last season of Maisel is done the same way.
Interesting.
Which the rest of it wasn't. And so like, I think that was another reason. I actually really like that format for a wraparound. I like it a lot.
It's kind of cool. And I guess they're building up to this. They tell us the story. It's a tragic story of our lead, Jack Delroy. He's kind of a Conan-esque figure. He's a little subversive, but he's got a very dedicated audience that is really attracted to his style of comedy. How he kind of pushes the boundaries a little bit. He's a little wacky sometimes.
Yeah.
But he pushes the boundaries. He's always kind of been known for slightly pushing the boundaries, I guess.
But not to a degree that is like uncomfortable or feels. What I like about it is it takes care of a lot of the exposition in a way that doesn't feel weird, but also doesn't waste time, so we can get to stuff. Mm-hmm. I do think, to me, there was a little bit of confusion about how desperate is this guy? Like, is he really just this, average media person who is trying to climb to the top because that's the bottom line goal in most cases? Or is there some backstory that makes him particularly desperate for the attention? That was the only piece that I wish I would have had a little bit more of. But otherwise, I really liked this.
Well, yeah, this little documentary, the prologue part, is fully from the perspective of, from the outside. Like, he isn't doing interviews for it. He isn't, he's doing no interviews. There's no really, his perspective isn't seen in this part. So we're not really given much of a motivation beyond superficial elements, I guess. And when is this documentary coming out? When is this piece coming out?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think a little ways after the fact.
Yeah, sometime in the 80s, maybe?
Yeah, because otherwise it seems like this story would have been so top of the news that it's like telling the next generation about what happened in case they missed it from their parents.
Yeah. Did they get into the Grove stuff during this part of the documentary? I think they may.
Yes, they did. They did. They 100% did. Which
kind of love
I
that.
want to know about the litigiousness of that because I mean
I still have my framed cease and desist from the Bohemian Club.
Love that.
I do too, but I did notice that there was an owl-like figure on his Night Owls
Oh, not
logo.
just an owl-like figure, but owl, and it showed the burning owl in the when it was doing the documentary overview of his connection with the Bohemian Grove.
Well, they called it the Grove. They did not call it the Bohemian Grove.
I know, and but isn't
the one thing you can't do is use a map identifying the location of Bohemian Grove either. That's where I got in trouble. Can't do that.
Says the lawyer.
Says the lawyer. I could have pushed it, but I have a feeling that these people have a lot of money, Kelly.
You're probably right.
Pretty interesting, but yeah, sometime after he visits the Grove in California, his wife, and what was her name? Madeline? Yeah.
Yeah.
Very sweet lady. They had a nice relationship. She was his rock. She was the balance to his chaos, and she died of cancer. They had a really wonderful episode where she came on and talked to him. That was, goddamn, they got me right off the bat, huh? It was a really sweet moment.
And that, I think, was part of what was very endearing. He seemed very genuine about his love for his wife.
Incredible.
Very, very genuine.
I mean, beyond probably a decent, well-written script, David's performance, man, just a likable guy. So good in this. She dies, and the ratings start. Well, I guess he returns after a long, disappearance.
Yeah, well, she dies, and he basically falls apart, right?
Yeah. And we don't get into the details of that, really, but he's seen wearing dark sunglasses outside and avoiding the spotlight. But He comes back.
Yeah.
Ratings are still kind of dipping. They're just not Carson-esque. Like he's not there.
Yep.
So he gets desperate and starts doing other things.
And this is, I guess, where, I don't know, maybe it was just because I was too excited about the movie and paying attention to other things, but I felt like there could have been a better delineated, more dramatic transition from before he was doing it for the love of the art, and now he's lost everything that matters, and this is his last thing he's clinging to, and he's irrationally obsessed.
I think it's a tough decision to determine how long you want this like book end to be, right?
True.
Because I mean, we're getting, I don't know how long it was. I didn't time it, but I imagine we were near
40, I think.
No, but the length of that opening segment, maybe 10?
Oh,
10,
sorry.
15?
Sorry.
Right?
Yeah, probably.
So once you continue telling that story, it's like, oh, what is this movie?
That's
what
a
is
good
this?
point.
But I agree with you. I would have loved to know more. And we get some stuff that's unveiled once the tape is aired, which is really interesting. Yeah. This is the night of Halloween 1977, and they tell us that they're going to show us the whole thing uncut, kind of, along with like behind the scenes camera stuff.
Right, and it was like never seen before,
which is
fun.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah.
Very cool. The scandal media from the 80s ish. Like I like that. I think it's fun. Yeah. My big beef though. They spent $150 on effects.
$150,000. $150,000 is nothing.
No, I agree. But it's certainly, you could have bought 3 cameras from a television studio and shot it on a television studio if you wanted it to look and feel that way.
Okay, wait. Explain to me what you mean by that. I feel stupid. What do you...
So this is a multi-cam, like late night shoot. So why not use authentic cameras from the era? They're just like, they have these. Just shoot with that instead of overlaying a vintage 70s effect on all this film. I thought that was the most distracting element.
So I leaned into it as being like intentionally cheeseball, and I was good with it. But I totally hear what you're saying. I didn't even think about it from that perspective.
But they truly overlay like filters to make it look like it's old.
Oh, it looks, but it doesn't actually look like it's old. It looks fucking ridiculous.
So why not?
But I was leaning into the ridiculousness of it and felt like that was really fun.
I mean, they kind of call this a found footage film, but
I guess that's a very good point.
It felt like a found footage film if they would have done that, and to the point of like. The in-betweens where it's the behind-the-scenes stuff, which I think they switch it to black and white during that to signify we're
they do.
But I still don't know whose perspective we're looking through, which I think is kind of confusing.
That's a good point.
Is it a guy running around with a cabled like handheld camera?
I think that's
it just that, and these are just small nitpicks, but if it would have done that, that would have been like mind-blowingly authentic and fun, and it could have obscured some of the practical and CG effects that I was not so thrilled with. But
you should be on these sets, Byron. That's a really good idea.
I guarantee someone would have already come up with that. But this broadcast, we've got Chris Stowe, who is what did I write down? Is he a Uri Geller? Is that the guy? The spoon bender, Uri Geller? Yeah, that was Uri Geller. This guy's very much like a cold reading, Talk to the Dead, very much of the times character, which I enjoy that. I think it was a fun, slow-ish start to the show. It seemed like they had a history because his rival, who is almost like a James Randi type character, a debunker. I even think he was part of like a group that was very similar to James Randi's group. Okay, but James Randi's group, I know about debunking groups, but I don't know about James Randi specifically in his group. I can't remember what it was called. It was like a something paranormal research group. I can't remember. He did the $1 million paranormal challenge, yada, yada. Yeah, so this is, it's all very much based on the great James Randi, who, for people who don't know, we should do a whole episode on James Randi. He was
totally.
He was a magician who went to the other side, the good side, and he basically...
what? Magicians aren't bad?
No, that is true. But then is he a villain then? Because his goal was always to disprove and debunk people's claims. Like,
I hate to say it, but I kind of think so.
He's a party pooper. He's a bad guy.
Every party needs a pooper. That's why we invited you, George Monks.
And I guess I wish that James Randi would have been there too. But yeah, he was trying to find real evidence of the paranormal, and so was this character, who was the second guest. Did you not put that together either? Of course you did.
No. No. Yes, of course I put that together. I'm just thinking about how embarrassing it is that I know so little about the people that have tried to spoil the things that I really like.
Oh,
I need to know more about. Yeah.
Well, that was one of my goals. Maybe next year for Frightday, since this is my year of the believer. Next year is Critical Kelly. Critical Kelly, where you and we take down the people who attempted to spoil the good in this high strangeness world. Wow. All right. Well, ready for it. And James Randi would be our hero in this. He's not a bad guy in that world. We're talking about people in that world, like Uri Geller or Christo in this case. But Gus McConnell is the co-host. Who played? I'm scrambling for my names here. He was really fun as well, I thought. Like, genuinely very good. I'm trying to figure out the name of the person who played the James Randi type character. Oh, his name is Carmichael Haig, played by Ian Bliss. He's a skeptic. Yeah. A lot of fun. He's on there to debunk in real time the Christo character. But then we have another guest who is, after Christo gets a bellyache and vomits CG black blood onto him. Well... yeah. Didn't like that. That was bad. That was trash. He was like, what was really a bummer about that though is this poor guy who I know I'm a bit of a believer. Mm-hmm. My stance immediately was that Christo was not a scammer. Oh, I mean, and I think that this is the case, and this is, I guess, the year of the believer, so I can say this. I think this is the case with a lot of people who claim to be sensitives. I think maybe there are some instances where they do get a feeling or help from something that's unexplained, but because of the industry, they oftentimes find themselves having to fake or exaggerate. Like the same way when we had that discussion with Dave Schrader and they were talking about ghost hunters on TV, when they hear something, they have to physically react to it. So here's what I'm going to say. I agree with you, except in the case of these sensitives that supposedly can talk to your relatives or hear. Well, I feel like there is cold reading. Yeah. Yeah, there are more scammers in that world because there's so much to be made and you're dealing with such vulnerable people. So I think that's but I didn't think that he was a scammer. I thought that he was mediocre at what he did, but I didn't think he was a scammer. And then he was ready to leave and they made him come back on. And that was kind of the theme of this that, seemed to play over and over again. Mm-hmm. Is this poor, desperate guy you feel bad for until you see over and over again that Jack is now endangering other people by making them do things far beyond what they want to. Or what they agreed to. Yeah. Exactly. And, it's exploitation and it's gross, and this guy would have been totally fine if they would have just let him leave when he wanted to, but instead they pushed him and
skeptic McGillicuddy screamed at him a bunch, and then he puked all over, and then even worse things happened.
God, the puke looked so bad, though.
But see, like, to me,
15 feet of CG puke, just do a normal puke.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's it. Maybe that's a comedic moment that was just lost on me.
I mean, I feel like if you can't do it well, you do it hilariously.
That's not a bad rule. I like that.
But, yeah.
There was an Anton LaVey type character in some interstitials about this cult that a young girl named Lily was part of. She was rescued from.
Yep.
They're merging so much here. I loved it. It was almost like a satanic Waco.
And this
almost, right?
This
like
Xander? Was it Xandor or whatever? Was that
yeah, Xander Debo or Diabo, yeah.
And I thought it was kind of fun because it was a little bit like a whodunit, where, okay, which one of these situations is going to turn out to be the thing that is like the evil catalyst of our climax? I don't know. What's going to happen?
Yeah, we've entered that third act type situation where Lily and her helper, I guess, her therapist, psychiatrist.
Yep.
And what was her name? Was that Diane?
I
think I'm struggling to figure that out. But either way, this
Ingrid Torelli playing Lily, I thought was so good.
Yeah, incredible.
She did a great job.
So
I loved her.
Kind of reminded me of and this is going to surprise you, I really enjoyed this, the finale sequence in the first Conjuring, where the mom is in the basement with a sheet over her and she's in the chair. Like equally good performance. Even though
that is surprising me. I know you don't like those.
I don't really like those.
Yeah.
But this character, the surviving member of a cult that got raided, it's super interesting, and it reminds me also a lot of the book Michelle Remembers, like early Satanic Panic.
Okay, hold on. Michelle Remembers, didn't it turn out to be all bullshit?
Of course, and I mean, yeah.
I'm just making sure.
From the same era, though. Right. Like, we're talking 80s Satanic Panic, yeah.
Totally inspired by. I agree. I just, I'm not as up on my Satanic Panic history as you are, so I just wanted to make sure.
It was just, they were just feeding me constant, like, oh, hell yeah, feelings throughout this entire film because of all of these little Easter eggs that they're dropping. Like, it's very clear that the directors and writers knew, they knew the era, and they know what, I guess they know what I'm interested in. Like,
yeah,
they gave me everything, which is really fun. But Lily, they talk to the entity inside of Lily, even though that wasn't part of the plan. This is another example of Jack pushing the limits of what they should be doing.
I think it was originally part of the plan, and then it was not supposed to be part of the plan because her, Diane, her adopted mother / caretaker. Mm-hmm. Oh, what am I talking about? It isn't Diane. It's June. Jesus, what is wrong with me?
I'm so sorry. I said Diane, so I was setting you up for failure. I'm sorry about that.
No. That's okay. June says, like, no, this is not okay. Like, you don't understand this little girl, and it's obvious that there's been a romantic interlude between her and Jack, and Jack is exploiting that pretty disgustingly. And I think you see him kind of cross over into this kind of gross villainy role.
Well, I mean, they're getting
this vulnerable kid, and
they're getting so much of a response from this Halloween broadcast, phone calls, people losing their mind.
He's crazy with greed, and that's like the only thing he can see. That's the only thing he cares about.
Well, and I think deeper in that third act, we understand why he cares about this, but we're probably not going to talk about that. I will just say that...
No, we shouldn't.
The discussion in the chair scene, it was really incredible. Like, the way that they were able to... I mean, they rolled out a smoke machine, and that always makes things better. But also, like, beyond that, holy cow, intense. The lighting was perfect. The performance by Lily was unreal. Like, it was really, really special. So, like, kind of almost as good as, like, Jane in Evil Dead. like bordering that good.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny because I didn't even... Evil Dead is one that I just don't call to memory for comparison as much as you guys do. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think that without her performance, as strong as it was, the whole thing, because while I was a big fan of like the stuff that they leaned into that was cheesy, if her performance had been cheesy rather than earnest, yeah, it would have been a huge problem.
Yeah. Well, and I don't want to say that this film didn't have problems. It's just it so happens that most of them happen at the end, which we're not going to talk about, unfortunately. Kelly, do you want to tell me about your highs and lows? As aboves, so belows?
You mean you're not even going to... Okay, well,
wait, where do you want to go? What did we miss? What do you
No, I agree. I don't think we should talk about the end, but I am going to slide in there my belief that actually the ending takes things in a different direction that I think adds a layer to the story rather than ruining it. I know that there are mixed feelings about the way that this movie ends. I would be very interested to hear what our listeners think after they watch it.
Yeah.
But upon reflecting a decent amount, I really, really like it. I really actually think that there are some things I wish I would have seen more of in the end, but I like that it was a bit different than what I was expecting.
What didn't you like, though? What's your low?
I really didn't like how mean he was to Gus.
Gus doesn't deserve that. The Andy Richter type character?
Yeah, and not like more vulnerable than Andy Richter.
Well,
because at least Andy Richter is
his
like
religious beliefs in a really kind of gross way, and I don't have much respect for that. But
I mean that's kind of how I felt too. You guys know that I'm not a religious sort, but being outright disrespectful in any scenario other than when somebody is using their religious beliefs as a weapon against people, like that's really the only time I feel like it's at all called for to challenge or push back against a person's religious beliefs. And that was just, and maybe that was a good tool to indicate that, okay, you think that this Jack is a victim and this poor guy, and maybe actually you shouldn't feel as bad for him because maybe he's actually kind of an asshole because he's slipping, shifted. Yeah. So the character development in this, I thought, was so much better than your standard horror movie.
Totally.
This movie, I just enjoyed the hell out of, which is hard. Sometimes I get myself too hyped up about things, and then I let, it's hard for things to live up.
What was the most hype thing, though? What was your high?
I think...
This is a hard question.
This is going to be weird, Byron. My high was the little clues that they left throughout the movie, wondering what was going on in the audience and who was in the audience that might either be part of this cult that Lily was in. They kept showing people in masks.
Like the skeleton guy. A lot of people are talking about the skeleton
guy, the Frankenstein guy. And I really liked the idea that there were clues at least I was trying to follow the whole time that were keeping me guessing. I liked the way that it could have gone a number of different ways, and it wasn't all clear how things were going to shape up. Whether you liked the way it panned out or not, I liked that it wasn't super transparent the way it was going to pan out.
Yeah. A lot of thought went into I think a lot of elements in this. Like for me, my high was the little Easter eggs. We already discussed a ton of true crime, timely spookiness
lots
between
of
now
nods.
and the 70s. Lots of nods. Loved it.
Yeah.
My low, we already discussed up top. I just can't shake how much better this would have been if we were using authentic cameras on a real studio set that would have... Well, I mean, the set was a studio. I just wish I wish we would have had more explanation about what this documentary was, if we're going to call it a documentary, And
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly, final thoughts.
I know that I'm not supposed to always want a sequel because there's like a thing about art forms and like letting things be what they are and not always, but I really want a sequel. I feel like there's enough here that you could really run with a sequel. Like, what the hell happened to him after this? Like,
it's a great question.
Where, like, there's just so much.
It could be like a hard copy style exploration of this, almost like WNUF 2.
Exactly. So it's funny you bring that up, because the reason I originally got so excited about this movie was because of the obvious connection thematically to WNUF.
Mm-hmm.
And though that wasn't the biggest reason that I loved it at the end, I loved it as much as I had hoped I would. And it's a different kind of horror movie. I always get excited when there's something new that we haven't seen before. And it becomes increasingly hard to do that every year. And it's always impressive to me when somebody manages to pull it off, along with great acting and story development. And this was a really wonderful way to get me through the last doldrums of the winter as we come upon springtime. And I absolutely, it was worth the wait. Really, really love this movie. I give Late Night with the Devil.
This is important. It's a big one. Stamp it. Big deep breath from Kelly. Hand on top of head for folks who aren't watching at the FridaySociety.org, which video is available. Scratch.
9.2 pairs of opaque white tights.
Interesting. Great. This is one hell of a concept. It is proving to me and the world, thank goodness, that David D is leading man. He's got leading man energy. He's got the qualities. He's got the chops. He's got what it takes. Well acted all around, though. I don't think that there's a bad performance in this. So bravo for casting. Great script. All the late 70s weirdness that your heart could ever want. Talking to the Dead, cults.
So
we've got the devil, satanic panic stuff. It's a perfect storm. But was it perfect? Maybe it's the buzz bug. But when the credits rolled, Kelly, and I don't think you're surprised to hear this. I found myself more focused on the buzz than the film, being like, what?
Okay.
Which is my fault. It's my fault. It's a good film, and I'm on the edge of great, I would say. And it's the kind of indie film that I want to see more of. It reminded me of 2013. If I caught this on VOD without all of the conversation around it, I would be super excited to share this with a ton of people, and I still am. But I don't.
So should we just put a note at the very top of the episode that says, don't even listen to this, go watch the movie?
Go watch the movie. Yeah, I mean, maybe. That could be useful. I can't imagine this is going to break my top 3 this year. I'm being honest. Like, I think that there's a lot of other films that...
That's all right. That's all right, because guess what? We gotta have some controversy for our top list at the end of the year. So
4.2. Right. I'm just kidding. This is it's a 7.9 piece suit.
Okay.
Worn by David D.
Okay. I was gonna say, geez, Louise. All right.
No, I think it's good. I like it a lot, and I'm glad that we finally got to watch it. But I am more curious to know what the folks at home think after you've seen Late Night with the Devil. Reach out to us on Twitter and Instagram at Frightday. You could leave a comment below this episode in the show notes at frightday.com. You could send us an email, contact@frightday.com. We really like those. Or we can have a big discussion in the Facebook group. The folks have been loudly shouting that we need to return to the Facebook group. That's they think it's like less controversial and more kind. So I guess it's probably a little bit more welcoming than our really dark Discord community. Love y'all. You're my favorites, but...
Oh, geez, Louise. Okay. All right.
It's just, I think there's a lot of heavy topics being discussed in Discord. And honestly, I will say Discord is what you make it. If you want to share.
We could make like a light vibes only.
Sure. We should make a channel. But yeah, people have asked us to return to facebook.com/group/Frightday. And if that's where you want to hang out, I'll be there to read your messages and comments and respond sometimes. So check that out.
Okay. Good to know.
We got to get off this call, Kelly. For folks who don't know, we're recording remote because we're both so dang busy working on The Mob. This is going to be very exciting.
Oh, Byron, you've never seen The Godfather, have you?
I've seen The Godfather, yes.
You really have?
I haven't seen Goodfellas.
But you have seen The Godfather?
I've seen The Godfather. Really excited to talk about it with you. And yeah, I mean, a couple more things before it, but really excited for the spring. We've officially locked in the Dumas Brothel in October, so we'll be doing our first live investigation into the paranormal.
Love it. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun year. So thanks for again hanging out with us at Camp Frightday. We're already working on the next one, and it's going to be a fun rest of the year. So thanks again for listening to our little show. And if you like it, make sure to share it with your friends. It means a lot to us.
Thank you so much. And I am brewing up a Captain Kelly's episode that will maybe squeak in before our mob starts, maybe after the mob.
Sure.
But also, backed by popular demand, we will be having a Wind Kelly in the very near future.
Very near future. And we should probably do a True Tales of Terror, since we didn't end up having time for that at Captain Kelly's.
Right.
Or during Camp Frightday, during your segment. So
that's a very good point.
Yeah, get your stories in, Kelly at Frightday.com. And what else are you going to be doing? Where are you going to be, Kelly?
Oh, I'm going to be on... nope, I'm never on Twitter.
No.
And I'm never going to call it X. But yeah, you can email me, kelly@frightday.com. And I will also try to poke onto the Facebook page because I appreciate the lighthearted vibe too.
Yeah. I'm at Byron McCoy on Twitter and Instagram. Byron@frightday.com is my email address. And until next Frightday, I'm Byron.
I'm Kelly.
Stay on the air.
Please.
And stay scared. You've been listening to an Audio Wool original, produced by Byron McCoy. Theme music provided by Cemeteries. For more programs like this, visit audiowool.co.